Ready? Good afternoon. I'm Phyllis Randall, Chair of the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors, and I'm here in the COG boardroom. But there's nobody near me, nobody around me. The boardroom has been sanitized, and the only person in the room is 20 feet away from me. Not to mention, I put on makeup for the first time in 9 months. So I'm going to take my mask off now. As well as being chair of the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors, I'm also proud to be the corporate body president of the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments. And today, I have the honor of welcoming you to the virtual 2020 COG annual meeting. As you can see, I'm joining you from the COG room in Washington, D.C., a place where in normal times, we come together from all across the region to gather, to collaborate, and to discuss the important issues of our region. It's a place where I know many of us miss. I certainly miss it, and I miss all of you. So in this year, unlike every other year, our annual meeting will look and it will feel a little different. However, we're still going to take time to recognize regional leaders. We'll look back on some of our successes, and we'll look ahead to new opportunities and elect a new slate of corporate officers for the 2021 year. But first, I'd like to ask you all to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. You know, 2020 is going to go down in our children's history books. Never before in recent history have we seen a year with so many challenges. A 100-year pandemic, a long coming reckoning on racial issues, the fall of our economy in so many ways. But in other ways, 2020 has been remarkable. We've come together to see a need and to help one another. We're talking to senior citizens through doors and windows so that they will not be alone. We're wearing masks to protect ourselves and other people. We're thanking our healthcare providers and our first responders. And we're also realizing that so many people who we never really thought before as being essential workers are essential. The pharmacists, the 17-year-old kid that bags your groceries. We're really seeing one another this year. This year has been full of challenges, but it's also been full of opportunities to help each other, to come together and to say, we are all in this together. If you were like me, an enormous extrovert, we all miss one another, but we know this won't last forever. And next year at this time, we'll be together again. Thank you. At this point in the program, I typically ask all elected officials to stand up in the room and be recognized. Instead, I'm going to ask all of you to do something. Turn to the person who's in the room with you, whomever they might be, especially if that person is your spouse or your staff, and they have to tell you how great you are. I'll give you a second for your husband and your wife, your spouse, or your staff to let you know how great you are. Okay, so now that you received some much needed positive reinforcement, we're going to continue. Seriously, I know all my elected colleagues watching online know that your leadership and commitment, your caring and compassion means so much to your communities, especially during this incredibly challenging year. I do, however, want to call attention to one group of officials who deserve special thanks for their work on guiding our regional bodies and policy committees at COG. Staff, if you could show the slideshow. COG's Board of Directors Chair, my friend, Derek Leon Davis, Prince George's County. National Capital Region Transportation Planning Board Chair, Kelly Russell, City of Fairfax. Metropolitan Washington Air Quality Committee Chair, Brandon Todd, District of Columbia. Region 4 Coalition Chair, Roger Wilson, City of Frederick. Human Services Policy Committee Chair, Brianne Nato, District of Columbia. Chesapeake Bay and Water Resource Policy Committee Chair, John Staley, City of Fairfax. Climate, Energy, and Environmental Policy Committee Chair, Penny Gross, Fairfax County. Penny stepped up to serve in this role in the summer after the passing of our dear colleague and friend, Dan C., a longtime City of Falls Church Council member and active leader in COG. Dan was a champion for collaboration and combating climate change and protecting the health of the Bay. I know we all remain dedicated, like Dan, to working together on these and other environmental priorities. To our board and committee chairs, thank you for your steadfast commitment to regional partnership and to problem solving. Now, I'd like to turn this podium over to Derek Davis for his remarks for the year end of COG and to talk about his tenure as COG's chair of our board of directors. Derek, are you ready?
Madam President, thank you very much for that. Your hair and makeup are impeccable as usual. Thank you so much for making the commute into our headquarters in downtown Washington, D.C., an unlikely commute as of the last 9 months. I have also made a commute, unlike one I've made in the last 9 months, and that's down into downtown Upper Marlboro, into our council chamber. So I want to thank my support staff, who also is joining me in a room that is at least 20 feet away to make sure that we get this video done appropriately. Thank you much, team. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for connecting with us today. There's been a popular line that rang so true in 2020. A crisis is no time to be exchanging business cards. And if you ask me, it was incredibly reassuring to see how in the weeks leading up to the pandemic, COG's network was fully activated and in service to the Washington metropolitan region. The region-wide activation continues to this day, supporting our local and state efforts to combat this dangerous, dangerous disease. To follow President Randall's example, I'd like to take a moment to recognize regional leadership as well, specifically the non-elected public servants and groups who have helped our region rise to meet this moment of crisis. Any conversation on COVID must begin with our talented team of public health officials and health departments, to whom I send my deepest thanks and gratitude. Their expertise and advice, rooted firmly in the fertile ground of sound science, has been a guiding light for all decision makers. But I won't go into it too much detail here, as we will be offering them special recognition as they deserve very shortly. I thank the region's city and county managers who engaged through their CAO committee. Through this COG platform, they shared information with each of our navigating business continuity efforts in teleworking, opening and closing decisions, budgetary impacts, and much, much more. I thank the region's public information officers who have been working together to develop and share common messages that are so important in a time of crisis. I thank all of our public safety and homeland security committees who have supported our regional coordination. For example, our police chiefs have focused on a variety of COVID-related topics, such as enforcement efforts related to stay-at-home orders and face coverings. I thank chief procurement officers who have helped assess our personal protective equipment inventories and coordinated to get public safety and PPE they have needed. I thank the emergency food assistance providers, food councils, faith organizations, local government staffs, and many, many more who have worked to get community members essential food and other services. These are just some of the groups in our COG network that have stepped up during this unprecedented time of crisis. And I would be remiss if I didn't extend my gratitude to all of the government staff members and the entire COG team supporting them for dedication and flexibility throughout this difficult year. Remember, our collective actions and the significant sacrifices of our public and businesses had a major impact in slowing the spread of COVID, especially in the spring and early summer, and we're girding for the winter. And while this time to give thanks for the work we've done together, it's also time to double down on that vision and that resolve as we go through this winter. Help is on the way, but we are very aware that the numbers are rising rapidly. We all have to do our part to keep numbers as low as possible until the vaccine is fully distributed. As I have said before, responding to the pandemic and its far-reaching health, economic, and social impacts has been and will continue to be job number one for area officials for the foreseeable future. We appreciate COG staff members, their work in tracking these COVID impacts and helping us to understand the magnitude and how it will affect our future planning. In the coming weeks and months, staff will be reassuring more detailed COVID impact analysis, and several COG and Transportation Planning Board committees will be working to ensure that effort. This information will be useful as we collaborate in the year ahead to get back on path to a more equitable and resilient region. I'd like to pause for a brief video preview. Some of the data the COG staff has been tracking will be highlighted in this video. Team, you ready? Great work. Great work. Just want to make sure everybody can hear. Checking the audio and technical. Great. From that, it's clear that we have a lot of work ahead of us. Part of our challenge is how we apply what we've learned from COVID, the economic recession, the quality of life impacts, and the nation's reckoning on racial issues to shape a better future, not just a normal return. As I said this summer, it is not, if not for the coronavirus, I don't know what we would be shining a light on long-standing health disparities affecting communities of color. I just don't know that we would be doing that at this moment, but we have no choice. Without George Floyd, I don't know that we would be drawing widespread attention to the systemic racism that has been baked into policies and practices of our government and other sectors. What has been heartening is to see how our region responded. Governments, business, nonprofits, philanthropic organizations, and our residents have signaled a willingness to do the hard work and commit to action. I know that organizations across the region began looking at themselves in the mirror, at their internal and external operations in a way I don't believe we have ever seen before. The truth is that even before the events of this summer, many of our local governments had been taking steps to advance equity. And now that work has taken on even more urgency. That's why I was proud when our COG board of directors and our transportation planning board adopted equity as a fundamental value and pledged to weave equity more intentionally into all of our programs. This action was an unprecedented statement of solidarity and rejecting racial discrimination and exclusion, and a sign of close alignment of our regional governments. So now, with equity, as with COVID and so many other issues, COG provides us with a platform to share our experiences, learn from each other, and seek opportunities to collaborate and expand reach for our local initiatives. One example of this collaboration has been COG and TPB Town Hall series this fall and winter called Leaning In to 2021. This series is centered on advancing equity and resilience as the prime strategies to deal with disruptive events. You could ask for a timeline topic in 2020. Matter of fact, this topic was so timely that the presentation and participation on each Friday afternoon. Now, I tell you, Friday afternoon has been phenomenal, cresting with hundreds of regional activists, regional politicians participating. And if you missed it, you still have a few more chances to come. The sessions are led by University of North Carolina's Dr. Jim Johnson, and they have focused on major demographic changes that are ahead of us, like the shift in composition of the nation's population, what he calls the browning and graying of America. Dr. Johnson has noted that our shifting demography is the foundation for and the base for any strategy that we may develop. Our hope is that by the end of the series, COG and TPB members will walk away with tools for boosting community health and prosperity, strategies to combat segregation and poverty, and ideas for propelling these plans into our future. So whether it is at one of our town hall discussions or a policy board meeting or a convening of one of our many technical committees, it is clear at COG we have many of the right leaders that are now connected. We have a planning process in place. Now we must build our work and tackle key regional priorities. Priorities like how to craft the next visualized 2045 transportation plan that advances our aspirational goal and accounts for further technological and societal changes. How to become more focused on transit-oriented communities forward to realize our economic, housing, and mobility objectives. How to advance a new approach to reduce and eliminate homelessness. Again, I say, how to advance a new approach to reduce and eliminate homelessness, as well as regional initiative to ensure fair housing practices. How to foster more integrated metropolitan planning, especially as it relates to climate change. Together, we must continue rising to the moment to fight COVID in the present and keep planning for a more resilient and equitable future. These are our shared challenges. And as your COG board chair, I can tell you that I am supremely confident that we can succeed. To my fellow regional leaders, please, please, please stay engaged. Again, the next Leaning In Town Hall is coming up on December the 18th. That's again a Friday. So if you are at 12 o'clock noon, I think it is sharp, we're prepared to receive you on our normal WebEx fashion and let's make December more successful than November and October. I'm looking for 300 plus. Come on, team, you can make it happen. We'd love to have your participation. Please commit to courageous listening. I had a conversation with the board president, and I think in jest I said it. Thank God for my wife, who taught me the art of courageous listening when we got married about 25 years ago. So thank you, dear, for that. But we as leaders, whether they're in our homes, whether they're in our communities, whether they are as elected officials, we must commit to courageous listening. And please, when most folks point out obstacles, be ready to propose regional solutions, especially when we can leverage our great resources that we have developed here at COG. And I won't go into a long diatribe, but this usually launches me into the thought about the term that I give credit to being coined by a very good regional economic development strategist. And he came to our COG meeting, and by the time he left, there was a word that I could not get out of my spirit, and it still dwells there. We have for many years been in a situation where we tried to learn to cooperate, but we often ended up competing in the Washington metropolitan region. So we have adopted that phrase that was laid out for us as co-opetition. So we may compete a bit, but we know that we are far better for all of our regional realities when we work together and we in the spirit of co-opetition. So let's make sure we continue down that path of co-opetition. I'd like to close by saying that it's been an honor, a sincere honor, to serve as your COG board chair for this year, no matter the challenges. I've appreciated working with all of my regional counterparts from Frederick, Maryland to Loudoun County, from the city of Tacoma Park, my counterparts who joined me, abut me in Montgomery County, and all of my colleagues from the District of Columbia. And I'm going to stop naming because I can't name you all, but you have been very, very good to COG, and please continue. It's been an especially great honor and privilege to work with all of the COG staff, especially my executive director, Chuck Bean, and I would be remiss if I didn't give him air applause right now. Chuck, you have been a great tour guide on this venture into regionalism. And for that, anyone who follows behind me, you're receiving the very best that is to be offered. And I've actually had an opportunity to travel with Chuck to one place at least on the East Coast, North Carolina, and see his regional counterparts in action and how they also revere and respect Chuck's ability to coalesce and be the consummate professional. So Chuck, thank you very much. And so now, because I've rambled on and gone beyond the amount of time allotted to me, let me turn this back over to President Randall for an award presentation.
Well, thank you, Chair Davis. You said something that I thought was really poignant, that we're not just looking for, not just return to the future, but we're looking for a better future, not just a return to the normal. I like that. I'm going to have to use that. Derek, I have to say, I really, really appreciate, we all really appreciate your very steady leadership, your adaptability, and mostly, Derek, I've appreciated your positive attitude. You were the perfect person to chair COG during this very, very trying year. Okay, now we have next our virtual awards presentation. So let's be honest, we all deserve an award this year because, it's 2020. But Everyone deserves an award. If you can't get it, so just pat yourself on the back and we'll go on. And although we're not together, we're still going to honor some people who have been on the front lines this year. We feel that there is one particular group that not only deserves special recognition, but we honestly hope that before 2021 is out, you all get to take a vacation. I'm speaking, of course, of the region's health officials. We honor you today for your expertise. The laser focused attention you brought to our communities has been an imperative. You have regularly coordinated with one another, and through your work on COG's Health Officials Committee, you have helped guide us to a more efficient response to COVID during this pandemic. You did your part, and you advised us every step of the way as the region's elected leaders. Your consistency provided clear messaging to the public, and your partnership helped advance the development of new tools to share COVID information across our jurisdictional borders. Our region is incredibly grateful for such dedicated, knowledgeable, committed health professionals. And it's my honor to present COG's 2020 Special Impact Award to the members of COG's Health Officials Committee. The committee is led by Dr. LaQuandra Nesbitt, the District of Columbia, and Dr. Travis Giles, Montgomery County. The committee also includes Dr. Deanna Abney, Charles County, Dr. Barbara Bookmeyer, Frederick County, Dr. Ernest Carter, Prince George's County, Dr. Stephen Herring, City of Alexandria, Dr. Ruben Varghese, Arlington County, Dr. Gloria Adu Ayinso, Fairfax County, Dr. Allison Ensure, Prince William County, and of course, Dr. David Goodman, Loudoun County, who I speak to multiple times per week. I'm now going to share a video from Dr. Gales. However, I will say this. Some people are telling us that you can't see our videos that are playing, so just know that this whole annual meeting will be up on the COG website, and we will send you the video so you can see it. If you can't see the videos today, we apologize, but we'll make sure we get those to you. So take it away, Dr. Gales.
Good afternoon, and here we are, 10 months after we first had COVID knock on our doorsteps back in February, and our lives and how we do business and deliver the services that we provide have not been the same since. Thank you, President Randall and Chairman Davis, for this recognition, and I accept on behalf of my 9 other colleagues who are the utmost professionals, experts at their craft, and friends for providing the necessary support to each other as we've navigated and had to defend health in this time. We also would like to say thank you to all of our collective staffs who have supported us in the efforts as we move forward across all levels of government. As we offer guidance, often unpopular in some circles, and sit at the nexus of commerce, politics, and health and well-being, we continue to move forward with your continued support. COG has provided a great networking opportunity and foundational support to navigate through these uncharted waters. We have worked together to do multiple things. First, in the early stages, to move together in offering restrictions as a region, given our shared borders, assisting in contact tracing efforts to identify early cases and provide relevant guidance to mitigate further transmission, sharing best practices on testing, ventilation, contact tracing, containment strategies, vaccination, etc. Drafting regional language on educating the public about relevant data trends and updated information, and even stepping in to provide much needed leadership to the area when our federal partners were not able to offer necessary guidance to our relevants who attended parties in different areas of the district. We're thankful to our COG staff, namely Jenny Sheeter, who keeps us on task and moving forward, and other staff members, including Paul Desjardins, who regularly attends our meetings. Now, moving forward, we will need your continued support more than ever as we roll out a vaccine plan that we are learning new details about on a daily basis. continuing to educate the public about the challenges related to COVID, health disparities, as Chairman Davis mentioned, long-standing health disparities that have plagued our society that were present before COVID, but COVID certainly enhanced and hopefully raised awareness to all of our different radars. Continued enforcement of public health measures as we continue to get bombarded with questions and issues related to the science and data that we're using on all sides. And support for a public health infrastructure that has historically been underfunded in many ways, to modernize our platforms, modernize our approaches, not just for COVID, but again, to tackle and address those other health issues that we are well aware of. We appreciate you all's support as government leaders, elected officials, and across the board in different capacities. And we certainly do appreciate the opportunity to work with you all on a daily basis as we continue to move forward. So in summary, thank you again for the recognition. It is a pleasure and a privilege to work with you all, and we look forward to moving forward in the future together. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gales, and thank you to the region's health officials. Thank you to your staff, and thank you to all the area health departments. It's now time for the business meeting portion of the program. This involves voting. To approve the last year's meeting minutes, as well as the corporate officers for 2021. These materials were shared with you in advance of the meeting, but they're also being shared with you again right now in the chat. A word on our virtual process for voting. When the time comes, COG staff will display the items for voting on the screen as poll questions. You will be able to click on your selection, but please remember, only elected officials are eligible to vote. So first, I'd like to call for a nomination, and second, to adopt the 2019 annual meeting minutes. Okay, I understand from our staff that Fairfax Supervisor Penny Gross has made a motion, and Tacoma Park Mayor Kate Stewart has provided a second. Nominations have been moved and seconded, and I call for a vote. Please remember to make your selections on the screen at this time. I'm going to allow 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes while you make your vote. And while you do,
Madam President, you're nice. I'm only giving them 30 seconds.
the minutes have been approved. I'd like now to ask COG Chair Derek Davis to present the report of the nominating committee. Chair Davis, please.
Thank you, President Randall. You're so nice, and that Jeopardy music touch was right on time. I enjoy it. I may even use it at the end of the meeting, maybe. We'll think about it. I'm pleased to present the recommendations of the nominating committee. The committee recommends the following slate of COG corporate officers for 2021 for adoption by the membership this afternoon. For President, Muriel Bowser, Mayor, District of Columbia. For Vice President, Nancy Navarro, Council Member, Montgomery County. For Vice President, Ann Wheeler, Chair, Prince William Board of County Supervisors. And for Secretary Treasurer, Rodney Lusk, Supervisor, Fairfax County. Madam President, that concludes my report on behalf of the nominating committee. Madam President, I would like to move approval of the slate of corporate officers.
Thank you, Chair Davis, for moving approval, and I understand from staff we have a second to that motion. The second comes from Fairfax City Mayor David Myers on the nomination of the slate of corporate officers. So nominations have been made and approved. I will call for a vote. Please again, make your selections on the screen. We're good. And we are good. The motion has been passed. Congratulations to Mayor Bowser, Nancy Navarro, Ann Wheeler, and Rodney Lusk. I will say to my friend, Mayor Bowser, I have really enjoyed being the corporate president of COG, and you're gonna have to rip the gavel for my co-tan. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be over in a second too. Okay. All right, now we have something we're all very excited about. We have our presentation for our food bank. As we've all said many times, we've said it back time and time again, this year has been a challenge for so many of us. Even before 2020, many of the Regis families struggled with accessing food and accessing safe, nutritious food. The truth is, you can receive food, but live in a food desert, so the food that you're receiving is not safe and nutritious food. It's calorie packed, it's sugar packed, but it's not food that is going to be good for your body and for your brain. And so people have struggled with assessing safe, nutritious food. We know that the economic hardships brought on by COVID has only increased the instances of food insecurity. So because of all those things, I will say I am incredibly proud to announce that the COG will be donating $10,000 on behalf of its members to the Capital Area Food Bank. You'll now hear a message from Capital Area Food Bank CEO Rada Mukala to acknowledge the receipt of our gift and to speak a little bit about the need of our communities as it relates to food insecurity and nutrition. After she speaks, the CEO of COG, the Executive Director of COG, Chuck Bean, will say a few words about COG this year and the food insecurity issues. First, we're going to play a video, and once again, if you don't see the video play, don't worry, we'll make sure we get it to you. Thank you.
Rada mentioned they've served 50 million meals and 550,000 people this year alone, and that's just a glimpse of the need region-wide. Thank you to Rada, the Capital Area Food Bank, its volunteers, and the many other food assistance organizations for all that you've done this year to help our region in a time of need. We're proud to be focused on rebuilding better together along with partners like you. We recognize there is more that must be done to support food security among our region's residents. In addition to collaborating more strategically with Capital Area Food Bank and others, including through regional data sharing, a new Food and Agricultural Committee of 25 local leaders will spend the next year focused on the current state and future of the region's food system. This group is chaired by DC Councilmember Mary Che and vice chaired by Fairfax City Councilmember John Staley and Montgomery County Councilmember Craig Rice. Throughout the pandemic, COG has been convening a range of stakeholders to share experiences and best practices on key food security and food access issues and provide potential solutions, important connections, and more. We've compiled and shared regional emergency food assistance resources and tracked food policy and food councils. We've also continued supporting local agriculture during this time. We've promoted farms offering community-supported agricultural shares, CSAs, shared information about changing local food market and retailer operations due to COVID-19, and convened important regional conversations around issues like supply chain and food recovery. We look forward to staying engaged in this important work. COG's work on food and food security is part of a more comprehensive set of environmental programs that have been overseen by our Environmental Programs Director, Steve Walls, who will be retiring at the end of this year. Steve brings wide-ranging expertise on air, water, climate, and energy issues. Steve has provided leadership on regional infrastructure, and I'm particularly proud of the new 2030 greenhouse gas emissions reduction goals endorsed by COG and TPB this fall. Steve previously served as the director of Virginia's Department of Mines, Minerals, and Energy during the administration of Governor Tim Kaine, and he was the former governor's energy policy advisor. Steve served as the director of regional energy planning for the Northern Virginia Regional Commission. We wish Steve the very best on his future endeavors, and thank you, Steve. And while I'm mentioning staff retirements, I also wanted to recognize Abdul Muhammad in our Department of Transportation Planning, who will retire in January after 32 years of service. Abdul is a skilled engineer and a great member of the COG family. Abdul has worked on a lot of programs during his career, most recently on airport systems, surveying our 3 major airports and developing plans to improve access to them. I wish Abdul the very best on his retirement. Thank you, Abdul. It's now time to present our annual video, this year with more voices from our members, elected and non-elected. We wanted to highlight the wide COG network that has been so engaged in the response to COVID, while also working to advance our shared regional priorities. We are releasing the video this afternoon. For those of you on mobile devices, we'll send the link out right after this meeting and make it available for you to share as well. So let's run the annual video as our members talk about rising together to meet the challenges of 2020.
So even in the COG room, we saw the difficulties with the video, and we apologize. It was running along just fine until it wasn't. So we will make sure that's working. And again, we will share that out to everybody, and we apologize. But we are coming to the end of our virtual annual meeting. And what I want to do now is give just an enormous thank you to Chuck Bailey. You know, as the executive director of COG, Chuck Bean he's astounding all the time. But this year, and with all the issues that have gone on, he has been just phenomenal. Think about how hard it is for your individuals, boards and councils to come together to have meetings to share information. Now imagine doing that across Virginia, Maryland, and DC. And that's what Chuck and his staff have done this year. It's been just phenomenal. So to Chuck, thank you. To the COG communications team, thank you so much for all of your work, all of your help, all the virtual meetings, you know, figuring out how to use chat boxes, the whole thing. You guys have just been phenomenal. So thank you. So thank you to Pat Warren, to Janelle Portman, to Megan Goodman, to Monica Beirudi Nunez, and to Steve Kenya. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you. Truthfully, I want to thank the entire COG staff. Day in and day out, you help us solve problems. You help the elected officials help our constituents, which means you help every single man, woman, girl, and boy in the entire Capital Metro region. You serve as an effective forum and a trusted resource for area leaders. You give us material and support. We just couldn't have done this without you, staff, so thank you so much. I will tell you, truthfully, it has just been my honor to serve as president of COG's corporate body. I have enjoyed it very, very much. Mayor Bowser, Muriel, you're going to have a great time doing this. So congratulations to all the new officers to the corporate body. I'm going to now turn it over to my friend, Derek Davis, one last time for some closing remarks and to adjourn the meeting. Derek, it's on you. Thank you, everyone, and have a great holiday season.
Thank you, President. I like to call you Chair because I know that the responsibilities that you have and your county are enormous, and they are blessed and fortunate to have you to take the reins of leadership and carry the county to a new nexus, not one like the days before, but the new place that it is destined to go. And under your leadership, I know it will get there. Thank you for your support throughout this year and throughout my years. I looked today on my desk at home, and I saw the stack of cards, the key cards that allow us into the COG building down at 777. And I said, wow, it's been 5 years. It's an amazing reality for me. And I am thankful. I am just grateful for the opportunity that my colleagues gave me to serve as chairman of the board this year. Didn't know that we were going to be humbled by the reality of COVID-19. But you know, that's what it's all about. From my perspective, being thankful and being humbled in the same sentence should prepare one for what God has for you. And you might as well get excited about it and determined to carry it on. The reality is that the responsibility of the COG across this region is enormous. Earlier, I talked about it from the perspective of economic development, but economic development is only one of the aspects that we take on as COG, as you heard us talk about equity. Many forget that a few years back, Metro was in trouble. The COG team came together, worked diligently across the entire region to ensure that WMATA had the resources necessary to keep our transit system viable and moving into the future. People didn't realize it, but we also had another challenge. And that's where this spirit came in. This spirit that said that Amazon's HQ2 should figure out for themselves that the very best place for them to be was somewhere in the Washington metropolitan region. And as a COG board, we worked together and we started to develop this cohesiveness, all while competing. But it was amazing to see that one of the largest companies in the world now decided to house itself right here in our Washington metropolitan region. Earlier, I didn't want to charge it to my head and lose any of our regional partners, the 24 of us: Washington, D.C., the town of Bladensburg, the city of Bowie, the city of College Park, Charles County, city of Frederick County, city of Gaithersburg, city of Greenbelt, city of Hyattsville, city of Laurel, Montgomery and Prince George's County, city of Rockville, Tacoma Park, and that's in Maryland and D.C. In Virginia, we have the city of Alexandria, Arlington County, city of Fairfax County, city of Falls Church, Loudoun County, city of Manassas Park, and Prince William County. I do this roll call because it's important for us to understand in this region, in this country, who we are. We are some of the most coiffed counties and municipalities that exist in this country. Collectively, we have many of the top household median incomes. And we have challenges that we have resources and brain power to tackle. I'm one of those people who likes to think of things in succinct planning mechanisms, right? I have a way that I approach life: personal, professional, and political. On the COG board, I've met some people who will be my personal friends for the rest of their lives. You just don't know it yet. Professionally, some of the very best people that anyone could ask to work with. And politically, people who are willing to hang their egos on the door outside, roll up their sleeves, come in and make great decisions. You can't have it any better than that. Administratively, the COG team and the teams that all of our political acolytes bring to bear, top notch, #1. You want to talk about managing a situation? Look at this COVID crisis and how we managed it. But as Dr. Covey says, and Dr. Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. Always has, always will. If we elected leaders can't get ourselves together and get out of our own way and get out of our own egos, people will suffer. The reality for us in this day and age is we collectively need to understand and continue, especially in the Washington metropolitan region, down that path that my good friend and economic development guru, as I've already dubbed him, Victor Hoskins, said, that spirit of co-opetition. Co-opetition. We're not competing. We're only competing to make it better so that when we cooperate, the Washington metropolitan region is that beacon on the hill. All we have to do is think about it, plan for it, and execute it. And we have met all challenges. We're going to beat this COVID thing together. And then we're going to tackle housing and homelessness. Because what else would we do as the elite leaders that we have been elected to be in this region? I just want to say, look at God. And with that, this school of cool fish can beat anything that's laid before us. So sharks in the water, watch out, because here we come. And with that, I will accept a motion for adjournment. I heard you, Madam President, with the motion for adjournment. I hear a second. All those in favor, wave your hands in the air like this. And all those who are no's, you can stay, but we're gone. God bless you all. Appreciate you.